All right. So, hey, everybody. I am Jen Gleason Blue of The Resilient Body and creator of Launch Your Resilient Life. And I am here with Liz Agnew. Hi, Liz.
Myers now.
Yeah. What's that?
Just known each other for so long. Liz Myers now.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. Liz Myers. I've known her so long that I knew her before she had a kid and before she had a husband. And in my head, she's still Liz Agnew. That's hilarious. So we are here with like a Resilient Life, How They Do It series. So I have known Liz for a long time, and then I got into this work, and then Liz got into this work with me. And so I have loved how she's applied it to her life and the sort of things that she has done with it. And so I wanted to bring you a little bit of her story in hopes that you will find yourself inspired and just get a sense for what's possible in the midst of what for all of us is like regular everyday living. So Liz, maybe you want to share a little bit about how you've ended up here in this conversation, a little bit about your life.
Yeah, well, let's see where to start. By trade, I'm a coach, and that's how I met you, of course. And so I work with people one-on-one on ways to improve their lives, generally speaking. And so, I mean, I'm doing that all the time myself in general. And specifically, I'd say kind of categories of sustainability and health are big for me. Maybe like six years ago, I started really cleaning up my diet and working on eating more sustainably and those kinds of foods. And then when I heard about you kind of switching gears and getting into this, I was paying attention and following, and I was pregnant at the time and thought that sounds wise. I'm pregnant. I want a really good birth experience. And you had sort of told about your birth enough to tell how you got into this work. And so we worked together then and a little bit more. And how much detail do you want me to go in now? Because I know you're going to get specific. Right.
So yeah, so maybe what is your like, so you are now a mom.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of parenting and you do a little bit of working. Like, what is kind of the balance that you have in terms of those things?
I'm mostly stay-at-home mom. I maybe work 2 to 3 hours a week. So I really value that being a stay-at-home mom allows me to live kind of a more movement-oriented life, because it's very rare with a 2-year-old that I'm ever going to be sitting on the couch. I'm going to be chasing her around, going somewhere. So that's good. I'd say like I don't do as much walking at my desired pace as I would if I didn't have a 2-year-old. Besides that, I'd say it really allows for nice movement.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. One of my colleagues said that when he had little kids, it was so impossible to like walk any distance at any speed that it was like, that's when I really got into climbing and hanging, because it was like, well, I got to do something while I'm waiting.
Right.
It's a slow go with little ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, like being at the playground all the time. You've talked about that, and so I'll hang at the playground just for like 2 seconds or whatever until really it's the skin on my hands that stops me. And I'll hang there and the other parents are all sitting on the bench, and I think they must think I'm like a kid in a grown-up's body, which I mean, in some ways we all are, but as far as that goes, my personality really isn't like that. I just know that hanging is good for me and I need to do it. And I probably do it like a minute a week, maybe. Mm-hmm. And I notice improvement just with that, which is what I love about this. It's so able to integrate into your life. Like a minute a week of hanging, I've actually seen results.
That's amazing. And that's one of the things for those of you who sort of aren't up on it. In the 4-week course, Launch Your Resilient Life, there are like exercises and there are lifestyle challenges. And so we explore these ways of like, what are the things like hanging that you can do that just change a little bit of how you're moving in your day and in your week, that really do add up. And I love that you've seen results in just that tiny bit. That's so cool.
Yeah, and it's like a minute cumulative. Like it's probably like 10 seconds and then let go.
That's true.
I'm actually not very good at doing restorative exercise sessions, like sitting down and doing repetitive motions, but and it doesn't appeal to me. I don't want to do it, and I don't need to, but the integrating little pieces in has been awesome. Like,
oh, cool.
I just naturally think of it. I live on the top of a hill, so when I walk home, kind of keeping my heel down and as I tread up the hill, and even on the stairs in my house, just remembering those things it's kind of fun because it just brought this other element of awareness to my life, to my being, to my body that I hadn't really been paying much attention to.
Yeah. Well, what was it like before? Like before you got into this, how did you use your body? How did you move? Did you exercise?
It was less integrated, I would say. So I started working with you when I was pregnant, kind of proactively. Like I just thought, I want a good birth experience. I want to do everything I can to make that happen. Here's something that's coming to my purview that really increases my chances of success. I'm going to do it.
And to be clear, you had an amazing home birth.
Yeah, I had a really good birth experience. I mean, in the moment, I didn't think it was that great, but looking back and talking to other people, I got lucky, or it wasn't all luck because I did some work to prepare, but yeah. So that was great. It's almost like makes me nervous to have another kid. Like, how can I beat that birth experience? But I hear that it's possible to have two good ones. So
yeah, I feel that too. And so were you, like, did you go to the gym? Did you used to run?
So I used to run in my 20s, and I had already sort of quit doing that and taken up walking, which kind of was already a spiritual evolution for me. I think it just felt better. And it allowed me to multitask, honestly, like to listen to podcasts and that kind of thing. And I think I'm pretty sure that was before kind of learning about restorative exercise. But what restorative exercise did for me was like validate it. Like I actually feel like I'm doing better for my body walking than running, which I never would have thought in my 20s. And a lot of the runner people I talk to don't think that. And now when I do run, like, 20 feet or whatever, like I'm like, this doesn't feel good. I mean, sometimes it feels good when you're in an all-out sprint just for a minute, just like playing or whatever, but just jogging, I'm like, bleh. So walking and yoga were my big things, and they still are. So that really hasn't changed a lot, but I think how I do yoga is different. I'm focused more on alignment. And walking, same thing. I'm focused more on alignment, but it's really the in-between that's changed for me. Like in my kitchen, if I'm cutting something up or on my laptop at the kitchen counter, like it feels weird to not have my half dome and be doing a calf stretch, like weird in my body, like mostly. And because I notice like my hamstrings want to stretch right now, like I'm noticing that it's just coming up. And so that's the big difference. And sitting on my couch, I hardly ever sit on my couch anymore.
Yeah. It's pretty. I can see it.
Yeah. Well, it's slowly, like, it's a sectional, so the pieces are slowly disappearing. Here, and this is my basket of body goodies, which didn't exist before. But yeah, so the pieces of the sectional are slowly disappearing to make more floor space.
I love that, like the disappearing couch. It's just like, oh.
Because my husband now sits on the floor too, and I was just like, dude, get it, your crowd, that's my spot. He had the couch, I had the floor, he's in my spot, so I needed to take more couch away, which is great. But now when I do sit on the couch, it feels yucky. Like it just feels, my butt, it hurts like after 30 seconds. And yeah. And when we have guests, they'll sit on the couch, I'll sit on the floor, and I'll think, how are they doing that? So
it sounds like you've gotten this whole, I'm trying to pull out this piece of what you said. It was like, I wouldn't have noticed before. Like now I'm noticing my hamstrings want to stretch. And you're talking about like when people come sit on the couch, like how can they do that? And that to me so perfectly highlights like how, and it's the same with me, like I could take a long road trip and I might feel a little like, like that was long to be in the car. But now it's like, I'm sensitive to the signals that my body's giving me in a way I totally wasn't before. And that's what I'm hearing with you, that like, it's like your awareness of what's actually happening and what needs exist is totally increased.
Totally, yeah. And I would say like, I also feel more valid. I wouldn't have thought to shift around so much and sit on the floor as much before, but now that I'm doing that, like if I have guests, I kind of, my understanding of all the things you've taught me has made me feel valid in doing so, sort of like righteous, a little bit righteous about it. So for example, if I'm at a coffee shop, I'll sit like with my knees up which is before I might not have done that because I thought I'm putting my feet on their chair and is that all right? But now I'm just like, I have to. I'm going to sit. I'm going to sit in the chair at the coffee shop. I'm not going to sit on the floor at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to sit in the chair, I'm going to moving my legs around a lot. So yeah, definitely more validated in that. And similarly, I was camping last weekend or the weekend before, and there were only 3 chairs and there were 4 of us and 2 of my close friends. But I said, no, I don't need a chair, and really didn't want one. And so there were some logs there I was squatting on and stuff, but I moved around a lot because I was just squatting on a log, which also, it makes you want to move after 5 minutes. And there was the fire. It seemed like the smoke from the fire was coming towards me. I don't know what that's about, but I was moving a lot and just kind of really aware of like everyone else is sitting so still and I'm moving and they probably think I have ADD or I'm really restless when I wasn't. I was just in my body in a different way, I think. Yeah. It's countercultural, but I felt aware of that, but I also felt like I'm doing the right thing for myself. I felt validated in that.
Yeah. Which is huge. And that's one of the things that I hear over and over and over again. It's sort of like but then I'm going to look weird. And I'm curious, did you get any comments or feedback from people?
No, I think I probably preempted it with my own, like, what do I appear like right now? And blamed it on the smoke from the fire. Like, I need to go over it now. But no, I mean, we were in some good conversations, so they probably didn't notice as much as I was worried about. I wonder about that sometimes with my daughter, where she wants to be barefoot all the time, which is great. I love it, and I think with kids, it shows how innate this stuff is, where she just wants every opportunity. She wants to take her shoes off, and I try to let her as much as I can, unless there's broken glass or something. And then she'll say, "Mommy, take your shoes off." And usually I want to too, but
my son's the same way. He's like totally calling me out on it. Yeah.
Right. And I feel like it's more socially acceptable for me to let her be barefoot than for me to be barefoot, even if we're in the same place, like to have an adult. But often I'll push the line further than I would have, I think, before I learned about all this, just because now I have a reason to. Now it makes sense, like, to me. I mean, clearly it makes sense to my daughter, but it makes sense to me now. Like, yes, I do want to be barefoot right now, and I have every right to. We're not in the store or something where they say you have to wear shoes.
So it became this like intrinsic value around. That sentence isn't going to work out. You've come to value your own needs and your own health and your own well-being in a way that enables you to present yourself in the world in countercultural ways without needing to like respond to those implicit or explicit pressures. One long sentence.
Yeah. I think that's true. I mean, yeah, for the most part. I feel like I've gotten some before for being barefoot, but that's fine. Like, it's really based on like understanding why and feeling the benefit. Like, it feels so much better to be barefoot. I mean, I even have a pair of the unshoes, those sandals. Mm-hmm. It's still like barefoot feels the best. It's just,
that's amazing. Was it always that way with you and feet? Like, cause that's often a tricky spot for people.
No, it wasn't. I think, like, I work from home, so in the summers I'd wear flip-flops around the house. Well, and mostly because my floors were dirty. I mean, all these feet, I didn't want to feel the little dirt prickles. But, your floors are dirty if you bring your shoes into your house. The floors get dirtier. So we learn, it's sort of like an iterative thing, right? Like, we learn about the value of being barefoot. So, if we're going to be barefoot in the house, we need to never bring shoes in the house and sweep the floor every day. And just things kind of ratchet up or ratchet to where you need them to go. And so now in the house, never barefoot until October, November. I'm in Boston, so it gets cold. But
yeah. One of the things you said earlier too is that mostly what you were doing before was mostly yoga and walking, and what you're doing now in terms of that style of stuff is mostly yoga and walking. And I love, like, to me, one of the, and I'm going to actually throw giving birth into that category, because what this work has enabled you to do is to live more in the ways that you want to live, that it hasn't taken away from the kinds of movements that you love, but it's sort of given them to you more fully.
Right. You're good at summing up what I'm saying. Yeah, big picture. Yeah, totally. That's true. And I think just treating, like, I think before that it was more segregated, right? Like there's my exercise time and my non-exercise time, and they're more integrated now. And I had thought that before, but now I really like buy it. So if I spend time doing yard work and I feel like I used my body today, and maybe I'd let myself not go to a yoga class. I don't know. It's not even that much of a trade-off. It's just like it counts, and I don't discount it, I think is the difference.
Yeah, more is encompassed. What was that?
I'm more conscious, I think, of how I use my body when I'm doing stuff in the yard, like squatting or engaging the hamstrings if I'm pulling weeds out and not just my quads.
Mm-hmm.
I remember too, our first interview, I think I couldn't release my kneecap.
Right.
Let my quad down. And now it's like nothing. It's so easy. And I probably physically could before and just didn't have the neurons connecting things in the right way. But yeah, so I feel like that backside of my leg and my hips are a lot stronger.
Yeah, right. They don't need to, the front doesn't need to hold on because the back can't.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's cool to notice those subtle changes in my body. I've had low back stuff, which I still have, but the other thing about this work I feel is it's like I'm now on a learning journey and, on my own. Like I still read your stuff and follow you, but I feel full ownership in myself of learning more and finding what's next. And I know that the low back stuff is still like, I want to change my bed. That hasn't happened yet, but I just know it will one day. Like I feel a real sense of patience and that this is a lifelong thing now and things will slowly improve over time.
Okay. We need to if you're watching this, did you hear Liz say this is there's patience. This is a lifelong thing. She feels a sense of ownership I've been so struck, and this is just based on conversations I've been having lately, but I've been so struck by the absence of shame and shoulds and these negative constructs that are motivating you. Those don't seem to exist. I'm not doing things right. To me, I'm not hearing that.
Right. I mean, there was a little of that when it related to alignment early on, but you're really good about kind of helping ease that. But the alignment stuff, part of it is I got better at it, and the other part is that I let it go. I thought, I'm doing a calf stretch. If my toes pointed slightly off, I'm still doing calf stretch. Something's still stretching there, and that's great. And so, yeah. And the shoulds, yeah, everything in my life that's made a long-term impact in a positive way has been integrated slowly and sustainably. Everything. The food stuff, the mental attitude shifts, just, I guess not having a kid because that's pretty black and white. But even with my daughter, changes in her sleep patterns, and when she went from 3 naps to 2, or just developmental stuff, it's always, and how I interject with that as a parent has always been the same way. It has to be sustainable, integrated in a sustainable way for it to make sense and work for me, at least for me. So this was right there. So it wasn't going to be if it was the should thing, I didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah. When you've done it in such a way that you haven't thrown out your life,
right.
You've brought this in and allowed it to shift what needs shifting, when it needs shifting, when you're ready for shifting. And so just as you said, then it can be sustainable, because otherwise at some point, you're going to want to go eat the whole cake, it just doesn't, we have cravings for the couch that are different.
Right. Well, yeah. And when I do crave things like the couch, I just lie down on the floor. There are times when you want to be horizontal, and the floor feels better now, which is great. And now my couch isn't long enough to fit a whole body. The disincentive.
Yeah. And I was having this conversation today with somebody about reading, and both of us shared love of reading, this really stationary thing, and how do you not spend an hour messing up your body when you read? And we're sort of talking about you just respond to the desire to read with a different way of using your body too. Like, you know, you can lie on the floor instead of on some, you know, curled up in a ball. And then it's nice too to curl up in a ball sometimes on somebody's couch, you know, or your own couch, and just honor that.
Yeah, and I thought you were going to respond to your desire to move, which you can do while you're reading. Like if you curl up on the couch and it feels yucky in 2 minutes or 5, that's when you move. And same like I do a lot of computer work on this floor at night, and that's the thing. Like when you're on a floor, a hard floor, something starts to feel yucky. After 5 minutes, you move, and that's the sign to move. So just that kind of communication with my body that maybe I did before, I don't remember because I wasn't conscious of it. Yeah. And I think when you're sitting on a couch, there's something, it just, I don't know, it doesn't feel yucky until you learn this, and now it feels yucky. So.
Yeah. Which I think, as you said, has a lot to do with your ability to listen now to your body.
Yeah. Sure.
So do you have a favorite exercise, like your go-to, if you do this one, you feel really good?
Like a restorative exercise? Yeah. Good question. I think the calf stretching, because like I that's the one I really get the craving to do, which is funny, but yeah. My hamstrings are short right now. And maybe I'd say that's the one that I like want to do, feel like I need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But no, it's just, like I said, I'm also not very good at doing exercises, but sometimes I'll be doing computer work on the kitchen counter, and I'll do the double calf stretch, which is also like it's kind of like being in down dog, but not on the floor, like for your back and stuff too. So that's another one that feels good.
Yeah. Are there, you mentioned the bed as a lifestyle shift that you want to make at some point. What would you say is the biggest lifestyle shift, you know, or environment? We'll just call it environmental. Like, what have you done in your environment that has made the biggest impact on your body?
Yeah, I think it's the couch. So we also broke the couch apart, which created more floor space, and then got rid of 2 pieces. So just having the floor space. And then I decided I didn't want to use a pillow anymore, and just to basically do traction on my neck at night so that everything lined up better. And that was a pretty easy transition for me. I've been using like very small, thin down pillows my whole life, so it wasn't too hard. But the other cool thing, this is sort of related to what you ask, is raising my daughter. I sort of feel like she's a blank slate with her body, and knowing this stuff, I'm never going to give her a pillow.
Yeah.
So she's going to have to learn to not have a pillow, and her mattress is this thick on the floor, and if she never sleeps on anything thicker, then her body's never going to have to undo all that crap. So that's been cool. Like, it's not a lifestyle change for me, but it's helping kind of create her lifestyle, or really interfere less with her lifestyle.
Right. It just got chills. I love that. Right. Because it's not like, it's like a way of stepping out to let her body do its own thing.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Noise, or are you good?
What's that?
There's some background noise. Garbage delivery. I can shut the windows.
Yeah. Well, how long is it going to be?
A minute.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all right. Okay. Because I don't have much more. Do you have more that you want to add about your experience of Launch a Resilient Life or this work?
I'm sure I'll think of it later. Rings are on my Christmas list.
Nice.
So that's an example kind of waiting and being patient, but I'm excited. And yesterday I was at the playground and hanging, and I was able to swing side to side. So that's an example of improving, because there's more load in your arm when you're swinging. So that was some little tidbits there, but can't think of anything else.
Okay. Do you have any advice for somebody who's thinking about kind of stepping into this journey, kind of reclaiming their body through movement, getting more resilient, maybe even considering the course, like, you know, just kind of somebody who's wanting more of this life, but not taking the step?
Yeah. I would say, like, On the specific side, if you have a evening ritual of being on the couch in front of the TV or your laptop, just sit on the floor. No specific way, just do it. And on the less specific side, I would say from a process standpoint, just pick one thing. I think I did that early on. We did a couple sessions, and there were so many things, so many exercises. I just started focusing on my feet, I think, at first. Mm-hmm. Pick one thing, and when you're bored with it, that probably means you figured it out and you can move on and learn something else. But just being patient with yourself and letting it be those bite-sized chunks. Because why not? Like if you do it the other way and you get overwhelmed and you quit, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
Pieces that, I mean, it is. If someone's kind of tiptoeing around this stuff and very curious, then it's probably resonating at some level. And I feel like when this kind of stuff resonates, when I find something that resonates with me at a philosophical level, but I've yet to really dive in and take it for my own life, that's when I know, like, take it slow. Even with books, like, take it. Like, if I buy a book, I know I'm gonna keep it forever. I'm gonna love it. Even if I haven't read it yet, I won't feel the need to read it front to back. I'll open to whatever page interests me the most and read that, because eventually I am gonna read the whole thing, and I know that. So this is sort of similar. Just take what works, and when you find your natural hunger for more, you'll go and get more.
Yeah. Wow. Powerful words. Yeah. You can tell that you've spent a lot of time exploring how people and how you, but not just you, like clearly your work as a coach has come through in terms of like how you treat yourself and what you understand about what motivates people and how to really, truly make change.
Yeah,
that's very cool to hear this, through you, knowing that you have that whole context.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, helpful to point out to people probably too.
Yeah, maybe. Awesome. Well, thank you, Liz. I think that's it. You said you don't have more?
Can't think of anything else right now.
Cool. So thank you, whoever you are, for watching. I'm so glad that you are here. I hope that you have you've come away with some new things to think about, some new ways to imagine your own life and the possibilities therein. If you want more information, you can head to launchyourresilientlife.com and you should find what you need. And if for some reason you don't find what you need, then just contact me. All right, that's it. We are popping off. Bye.